Good morning, everyone. My name is Amanda Waldhart, and you are here with Amanda'sInspirationStation.com. Thank you for joining me this morning. I cannot wait to show you the two things that we're going to make today for our weekly Wednesday. If you are watching me on my YouTube channel, I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just hit that red subscribe button. Excuse me. Every Wednesday, I post a video doing 2 projects, and then I also post usually 1 or 2 more throughout the week, so you don't want to miss those videos. And if you're watching me on my Facebook page or my blog, I appreciate all of it. Thank you so much. I'd love for you to follow me. Put your email address in my blog, and that's where I will post out all of the information that I have on classes, to-go classes, events, all kinds of things. But today, we are going to make some Valentines because I love Valentines. So we're going to use the Hearts or Lots of Hearts bundle. Now, this is a stamp set and dies bundle that honestly, you do not have to have it strictly for Valentine's. I don't want people to think that, oh, it's Valentine's, it comes and goes. These can be used for so much more things. So today we are going to use them for Valentine projects, but you could use them for anything, and I just love them. So we're going to go ahead and use that. And then we're also going to use today the Painted Texture 3D Embossing Folder, which I love this background texture. It's so great. So let's get started. I'm going to show you the projects we're going to make. First, we're going to make this adorable Valentine card. And it says, just thinking about you, my heart smiles. So we're going to make that, and see, this is where that Painted Texture 3D Embossing Folder is. And then on the inside. And then we're going to make this adorable little treat box here. I love this. This is called a slider box. So you just slide it, and voila, we have 3 little chocolates. Now, I got these chocolate candies at our local Dollar Tree. Love them. Pay $1 for a bag of them. So I don't know exactly how many are in the bag, but I do have 3 more here for us to go ahead. And I will show you how you can just put a little glue dot so that they stay in there like that. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the card first. Because the card, we're going to use a lot of die cutting. So we're going to get out the cut and emboss machine today. And the dies that we're going to use from the Lots of Heart dies is we're going to use this one right here to create this heart with the like the little dots all around it. So what I did to keep them to stay in place is I just use a little washi tape, and that way they're like connected. So we have a few supplies here. So we have our card base here. That's 5.5 by 8.5. And you can score it at 4 1/4, or you can just go ahead and fold it like I do. And then I take my bone folder and I just varnish in the crease lines. However, if you score it, I would still varnish in the crease lines. Then we have our inside piece to our card. And that measures at 4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to have that. Then we have this piece, which is our first layer. And you know what? I was going to say, I think I made this a little bit smaller. Usually with my first layer, I'll do the same size as the inside, the 4 by 5 1/4. But this one time I did not, because I wanted a little bit more of the crumb cake to go around. So this is actually measuring at 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. Now, I will tell you, I have all the measurements on the project sheet. And if you are on, you can go right to my blog, Amanda'sInspirationStation.com, where I post this and the video. And you can click on the project sheet and print it. It's a free printable. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, up in the right-hand corner, there's like a little orange flower. Just click on that. It'll take you right to my blog, and you can print that as well. All right. And so then we have our real red piece, which we are going to use in the embossing machine, and our cut and emboss machine. And that measures at 3 3/4 by 5. And then, of course, we have a couple of scrap pieces here. Now, I've already gone ahead and cut out the black. heart that has the scallops. So we really don't need this piece today. So I have already gone and cut that out. And for the sake of the video, I must have had extras when I was cutting these. I have this cut out for this, but we'll get to that later. You're going to need some basic white, or if you still have whisper white or whatever white you have, you're going to need some scraps because we're going to use those for the sentiments. And then you're going to need Blushing Bride for this. And then you're going to need another piece of, you know, your white, your basic white, because we're going to stamp this gingham in real red. So let's go ahead and do our stamping first because we have to stamp before we can cut that out. And I have my piercing mat here with, I don't want to get a lot of ink on my piercing mat because then it transfers on my paper. So I am going to use just our Stamparatus grid paper. And I'm going to go ahead, because this is a photopolymer stamp set, and you really want the image to be clean and crisp. First of all, I want to make sure that I got it all inked up pretty well, and I do, although I just found a tiny little hair. So I want to use the piercing foam mat to make sure that I have enough cushion on there so that the center of the stamp still stamps beautifully. Just like that. I love it. All right, so now I have this then to place over top like this. All right. Now I do, before we go ahead and get out our cut and emboss machine, because we're going to do a couple of different things here. We're going to die cut our pieces, but we're also going to emboss with our 3D embossing folder. So I'm going to get that ready too, and I'm going to set those aside. So let me grab that and get out our machine here. Now we have a bunch of different plates. We're going to cut first because when we do our 3D embossing folder, we're going to need plate 4, but we don't need plate 4 right now. Right now we need always the base plate, and it tells you right on here which plates you need for whatever you're working on. So we need plate 1, plate 2, and then we need both the clear plates, which are plates 3. So we're going to go ahead and place that in there, and we're going to go ahead and place that in there, and we're just going to run this through just like that. And then look at, already there's my little heart. And then we have this heart as well. So I'm going to set those things aside. Now, for the 3D embossing folder, because this is a thicker embossing folder, you only need plate 1 and 4. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this in, and then I'm just going to run this through. So we just need plate 1 and 3. And there is your textured plate. Or piece of paper. I love that. All right, so I'm going to go like this. And we are going to use this again for the box project, but for right now, I'm just going to set this aside and we'll go back to that because right now we're making the card. All right, so let's go ahead and get our pieces and everything ready. So we're almost ready to actually, I'm actually going to take my little poker tool here, and I'm just going to kind of poke out all these little holes. And before we assemble our card, I am going to get out my StazOn because we are going to stamp the sentiments. And I'm going to get all these little circle-y things out of the way. All right. And then we also need some of this polka dot Whisper White tulle ribbon. I love this. You can color it, you can leave it. It's probably my favorite ribbon. Always has been. All right, so let's get out our StazOn. And we are going to need Just Thinking About You. We're also going to, because it's photopolymer, I'm going to get back out my mat here. And we are going to well, you know what? I have the wrong, hold on. I need Just Thinking About You. Why do I have that? I don't have that in here. That's not from the stamp set. Well, oh, you know what? It is from the stamp set. I am so sorry. I'm like freaking out right now. Doesn't take much sometimes. You know what I did? Hello. So it is from the stamp set. I'm super excited about this. I'm like, duh. It's right here. The stamp actually says, "My heart smiles just thinking about you." We are going to stamp it. We're going to cut it separately, and then we're going to switch it up. So it's not saying, "My heart smiles just thinking about you." It's going to say, "Just thinking about you, my heart smiles." All right. So I was getting worried there for a minute. I was looking at it. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm generally a pretty organized and prepared person. What did I do? All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to stamp this. I want to give a nice firm press so that's nice and dark. If you ever find like your StazOn or your Memento ink is not dark, that's when you pull out those refills. You will definitely want those refills. All right, so I am going to cut right between this here. I find that I re-ink up my Memento and my StazOn more than I do any other ink pad of mine. And that is because I like it when it's nice and dark like that. So we're just cutting this apart. That's all we're doing. All right. There we go. So there's that. I'm going to dump that, my garbage off to the side here. All right, so now we're ready to go ahead and put our card together. Let's put our insert first, and I'm just using my Stampin' Seal, which I am getting near the end, so I did bring a refill here. And we're just going to set it in the center, just like that. Now, before we put this together, because we want to wrap the ribbon, I did place the real red on top of the basic black flat. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this on first. And we're just going to, just like that, okay? Now I'm going to wrap a little bit of this. We're going to do two things. So we have it wrapped in the back, but then I also have a bow here. So I just pulled this out. What I'm going to do is on the back side here, I'm just going to, in the center, put two little strips like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a little bit of this tooling right behind here like that. I'm going to wrap it over here like this and just place it a little bit here. And then I'm going to cut it off. I'm just going to snip that right off. This is my extra tooling here. All right. And it can be snipped off just like that. Now, I am popping this up onto the card, so I'm going to get out dimensionals, and I'm going to pop it up. And I have some extra little dimensionals here. I use every little piece of dimensional. So when it gets to the point where we have just around the edges, I take my paper snips and I snip around just like this so that I can use every single piece. And I always put one in the center, especially with a big piece like this, because I don't want a saggy center. All right, so now I'm going to center this on the card. And there we have that part. All right. Now, I am also going to use my dimensionals to pop up my buffalo check or checkered heart onto my black scallop part. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. And then I'm also going to pop up the black scallop heart. So we're going to use some dimensionals. As you can see, I love dimensionals. If you've seen any of my other videos or my projects, I love dimensionals. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to center that right like that. Okay. Now, I am going to use this flat. This is going to be flat and kind of off to the side. So I only need to use just this little tiny bit right here is where I want to, yeah, see, I'm getting down to the end here, you guys. Oh, there's a little sticky. Just want to do a little bit on this. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to press that right there. All right. I do want dimensionals on these. And these are what's perfect, are these side pieces for this, or you can go ahead and get out your mini dimensionals. Those work perfect too. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use them. Now, I probably could have cut those like in half and not did it the whole time, but that's all right. All right, so I'm going to put this over here, My Heart Smiles, and I kind of want to place it over like that. And then I want to put up at the top the Just Thinking About You, like that. And now we just need a bow. And I'm going to get out my bow maker because that's how I generally make the best bows. And I'm just going to wrap it around the back, and the top piece is going to now go underneath and between the two pegs so that it comes out the back side. And now it's going to go over the top and between the two pegs. So under and over. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to tighten that. And I'm going to cut little angles here. There we go. I got lots of leftover ribbon there, tooling. Set that aside. Now to adhere this on, I'm going to use a glue dot. So I got my glue dots right here. And I'm going to find the end. Geez, it's like the toilet paper roll. Sometimes you just never can find the where to start it. All right, and I'm just going to kind of set that down below like that. Voila. Just Thinking About You, My Heart Smiles, and there's your card. How adorable. Aw. And you know what? You don't have to have a significant other to send a Valentine. You could send a Valentine to your friend. Maybe your friend, especially during COVID, is just kind of down in the dumps. Just send a little heart card to say that you care and you're thinking about them. All right, so now let's move on to the box. I love treat holders and treat boxes. They are one of my favorite things to do. I love coming up, like going in the store and finding different candies and being like, I can find something. I can create something for that. So that is what we're going to do. So I have some pieces here. I have 2 pieces of crumb cake here, and which I will give the measurements in a second. Then I actually have a piece of Real Red, this piece of Blushing Bride, which this piece of Blushing Bride actually is a scrap. These ones are not. And then I have a piece of Designer Series paper. These here are in the Brights and the Regals because I'm using Real Red in the Regals and Melon Mambo in the Brights. They come in our 6x6 paper stacks, and they are wonderful. I absolutely love them. They sell for $11.50, and you get all the colors in the Brights. They're double-sided, so you get 4 sheets of each color. But right now, we have all the new patterns that will be in the new annual catalog, and they are all free if you purchase the starter kit. So that is 5 packs. That is the Brights, that is the Neutrals, the Subtles, the Regals, and then it is the 20 to 2022 in colors. So that's like the Just Jade, Misty Moonlight, Magenta Madness, Bumblebee, and Cinnamon Cider. They're gorgeous. And you get them all free. It's like a $58 value. And that isn't even including the shipping and tax. They're free. So it is even more. It is a great value. All right. So the belly band actually measures at 7 by 1 1/4. And then we have the top piece, which is the larger piece. This measures at 4.5 by 7. And then the base piece measures 4 by 6 3/8. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started here with this because we're going to need our simple scoring tool. I love this thing. I could not live without this thing. I mean, you can score on your, I'm going to move this just for a moment. You can score on here. This is your score on your, and I have the old one out here right now, but I have the new one too, but it's over on my table. The cutting paper trimmer, you can score on that, but it is a lot easier when you're doing boxes and things like that just to use the score. All right, so this piece right here, this is our base, and this is the one that measures at 4 by 3 or 6 3/8. You are going to want to score 1 inch on all 4 sides. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to go on 1 inch. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to go down another inch. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to go down another inch, and then I'm going to turn it and I'm going to go down another inch. Okay, there's our base. Now, this is our top, and we're going to want it on the landscape side, and we're going to score it at 1 1/4. We're going to score it at 3 1/4. Then we're going to score it at 4 1/2. And then we're going to score it at 6 1/2. So we're going to go to 6 1/2. Oops, and I just kind of jumped the track. What that means is sometimes when I get going really fast, it slides off the track. So this is actually good. Let me show you something. So right here, I kind of went off the track. So what you can do is you can flip it over and just kind of rub it out with the score tool and just kind of rub that score line back out. And then what I like to do is just rub my finger across it. And then that way it's not as noticeable. We're going to decorate it anyway, so you won't see it, but there's that. All right, so for the top of the box, we are literally going to take our bone folder and we're just going to varnish these lines. Now you're going to need your tear and tape because we're going to put that on this little side here, this little perfect spot for tear and tape, just like that. And I'm going to take my poker tool and I'm going to peel it off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over. So I'm just going to fold this down. There's my tear and tape. You can literally just take this piece over like this and go like that. And voila, there's the top part of your box. That was easy, you guys, right? Easy. All right, so there's that. Now with this one, we're going to take the landscape side and we're going to take this score line and this score line and we're going to cut it up to this score line because right now we're creating tabs. So we're just going to do that. Now these are our tabs. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to kind of go in at an angle and create a little dart. See that little dart? It is so much easier when you're assembling the box. Anytime you're doing any kind of box where you're assembling, you're going to have tabs. Creating that little dart really makes a difference. All right, so I'm going to get rid of that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my bone folder again for the score lines. And I could have done that first. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't. If you want to do it first, you can do it first. If you want to do it second, you can do it second. And then we're going to score that. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in these tabs like this and bring up our flaps like this. And this is our box. So by doing that, I'm going to just kind of turn in our tabs right here. And I'm going to use multi-adhesive glue or multi-purpose glue. I'm just going to do a couple of circles here. Get some circles. And then I'm going to bring up this side here and I'm going to bring up this side here and I'm just going to pinch these two for a second. And right now what I'm just doing is I'm just making sure that they stay. It does give you like a couple seconds to because it's like a glue, to really wiggle it and work with it, which I like because if you're using the tear and tape, once it's taped down, if it's crooked, it's crooked. You're not going to pull that back up. Whereas if you're using your multi-purpose liquid glue, you have a little wiggle room to play with it a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and pinch in our sides like that and like that. So now here's our box and we're literally going to slide our box right in just like that. It's just a little slider box, okay? So it's super cute. So before we decorate the outside of our slider box, let's get our chocolates. And we are going to put our chocolates in. Now what I did is I went on the back of the chocolate and I literally did 2 glue dots. So I put one on the corner of the bottom of the heart and one at the top. And if you want to take your poker tool and do this, you can, because it does kind of come undone like that. So I'm going to put the pink one up at the top. Doesn't matter what order you do it in, but I am going to do the white in the middle. So I'm just kind of going to take that off. Get another glue dot. This is just holding it in place so that they don't slide around. I find a lot of treats at the Dollar Tree that are so cute. But I definitely like to look at, like, when we get our new catalogs and new stamp sets, I like to look at, okay, going into the stores or the grocery store or the Dollar Tree store and just finding out where, like, for example, our berry, our sweet strawberry bundle that's in the new catalog. When I saw that, that was like my favorite thing. And right away I was like, okay, I'm on a mission to find anything and everything strawberry that I can get my hands on that would be cute to either create a box or a bag or whatever around it. So there's that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and we have that done and we can just slide that in. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to create all of our fun stuff. So we have our belly band. And remember, I told you that the belly band measures at, which I forgot, 7 by 1 1/4. So what I'm going to do with this belly band is I'm just literally going to wrap it like this, and I'm just going to wrap it around. And what I'm going to do is on this side here, I'm going to put a little tear and tape. So I'm just going to do a little tear and tape here. And I'm going to peel that off. And then I'm going to bring it up and wrap it around. Just like that. There's your little belly band, okay? Now we want to do our ribbon too. So I have some more of this tooling. And I think I cut this piece, let's see here. I cut this piece at 18 inches. So I wrap this right around the belly band. And I am going to go off to the side because I want the bow to be on the side. And to make sure that it's not all crooked or like more on one side of the bow than the other, I just kind of make it so it's even like this. And then I'm literally going to tie a knot like that. And then I'm just going to tie a bow. So I'm going to take my 2 little Mickey ears that my mama taught me when I learned how to tie a shoe. And I'm going to do it like that. All right. And there's that part. Okay. Now we have a couple more pieces here. So this piece of designer series paper is at 1 1/4 by 3. And I'm going to use the side with the writing. So when you cut this, you want to make sure that your writing's not going up and down. So mine's going sideways. And I'm literally going to take my triple banner punch because you could take your scissors and you could snip up the center and then go corner to corner. I still managed to get it completely crooked. It's like cutting bangs yourself, right? You think you're doing a great job, and then all of a sudden you have one end that's angled and it goes whoop. That's how mine are when I do this. So I am going to just pop it right in there and make it perfect off the bat. Well, maybe not perfect, but better than what it would be before. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and use my Stampin' Seal here. And I'm going to place this just like this over the top. And I'm going to use my heart. We're going to pop that up with dimensionals. And we're going to do that. And I'm going to place that right on over. But I do want it to be high enough where I don't see the edge of this little banner thing. And then we need a piece of Whisper White, which I thought I had an extra piece, but I did drop something on the floor, so that probably was it. But I'm just going to grab another piece of Whisper White. Give me 2 seconds. All right. We're just grabbing a scrap piece, so it doesn't matter. We're going to get back our stays on. Get that back out. And we're also going to get back our piercing mat. And we are going to go like this because now we want your all heart. So I've got that. We're going to ink that up really well. It doesn't matter where you stamp on your scrap piece of paper, your scrap cardstock, because we're going to take our paper snips again and we're going to just snip around it. And we're just going to do that. All right. So I'm going to dump that. And we're going to use our dimensionals again to pop that up. And give me a second because that got a little crooked. I didn't like that. There we go. And we're going to place that up at the top here, just like that. And then the last thing that I did with this is we have this really cool in the Lots of Heart bundle. I love the dies. I love this whole bundle. This bundle is by far one of my favorite bundles. But we have this thing right here, this die. I love this die, but I will be honest, when I first went to use it, I thought they were all connected. So I thought it was, when I go to cut this out, I thought, oh, it's going to be a long strip. That'd be cute for a side of a card, but it does separate them. So they will be separate. So we're going to go ahead and get out our cut and emboss machine again, and we're going to run this through so that you guys can see what I'm talking about here. And let's get my plates in the right order here. All right, so I just have a piece of scrap Blushing Bride, and I'm just going to kind of lay it flat on there, except for, see how I got to lay this flat, otherwise it's going to pop up. There we go. So we're going to do that, and you can use a piece of washi tape to hold it down again. All right, so I got it locked in there. All right, so let's pull that out. So when I first did this, I was like, oh, it's not connected. So it is not connected. It's like this. And the cool thing about them, though, is that these come out. So you can use these hearts for something, or you can use the outline. Now, for me, with this one, this is the only one that is connected, but I just realized I cut off this little heart. So you know what? I'm not going to do that. We're going to do something different with this box. So with the first box, I did the outline. So with this one, let's go ahead and do the actual little hearts. So instead, with this one here, we did the little outline, but I had cut that one off. So with this one, let's just use a little glue dot and place that right there. We'll just do the solid. That's the great thing about this. And I always keep these extra hearts. I keep them. I put them in a little container. We have, Stampin' Up! Has these little half containers, or they used to. They don't carry them anymore. And that's what I keep mine in, but you could get any little container anywhere and just hold them in there. And then you know what? Because I have that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to angle this little guy right here. And I'm going to put this one kind of going this way onto the banner. There. So now we have it two different ways. So we have it with the outline or with this one. But both of them have the chocolates inside the slider box. So I hope you guys loved these projects today. If you're interested in purchasing any of them, especially the bundle, because right now when they're bundled like that, you save 10%. And if your order is $50 before shipping or tax, you do get to pick out a level 1 celebration item. If your order is $100 before shipping and tax, you can either pick out 2 level 1 celebration items, or we have a level 2 celebration items. There's 2 of them that's for $100. Just go to amandasinspirationstation.com and you can place your order that way at Shop Now. Again, don't forget to print out the project sheet. It'll show colored copied pictures of these, and then it has the supplies and the measurements. You can use this hostess code. If your order is $150 before shipping and tax, do not use that hostess code. You then would collect your own hostess reward, so don't use that. But either way, I appreciate you taking the time and watching the video. I really hope that you like the projects today. You guys have a great rest of your week. Thanks. Bye.